Hi, this is Shirish Kulkarni. I'm heading a company called as Throat Consultech, which is into business consulting, helping small and medium businesses for the last 5 years, taking them through the growth path. We have started a new initiative called as Hatke, in which we are talking to various leaderships, various institution leaders, various aspects of thought leaders who are thinking differently about this current situation, so-called constrained or difficult situation. And we have a privilege to have with us Dr. Sahasrabuddhe. He is my sir. Actually, I have been his student. So I'm so humbled, sir, to have you with us. So you can
Namaskar.
quickly give your introduction, what you are up to right now, sir.
Yeah, Shirish ji, this is a wonderful platform. The name Hatke in Hindi or Marathi or whatever you call it is slightly out of the box, what we say often in English. So, and it has a meaning which you have attached with whether it is health, technology, and all that. So, I think it's wonderful to interact with you. A few thoughts I would like to just tell informally first, and then if there are any queries, you can ask questions on that. First and foremost, many people were thinking that because of this lockdown, we are all constrained and all that. But I think this has opened up many new avenues. In fact, we were very glad, at least AICT front, this gave us an opportunity which was never imagined that this would be possible. For example, we used to conduct several workshops for faculty development programs, and then even for students and many of these seminars, etc., which were always used to be in some fixed numbers. Maybe in many workshops we used to have only 50 participants because the constraint of accommodation. It used to be 5-day program, 7-day program, and so on. And there was, in fact, consent was the other way around. In fact, we are now boundless. So what happened? We had a lot of activities lined up, and suddenly, because of the lockdown, we had to suspend those activities. And then we started thinking how we can leverage technology in terms of continuing that process, and started with very simple, what is known as student induction program and universal human values. For this, we used to conduct regularly workshops from very eminent persons who have done in their own curricula and in their own IITs and NITs and some of the universities, this universal human values program. And
Wow.
we wanted to train a lot of faculty. This is very important for freshman students. In fact, when first year students come to a college, many of them come from different backgrounds. Some from rural areas, some will be from remote, places like rural areas, tribal areas, and so on. And there are people who studied in Marathi medium, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Punjabi medium, and there are people who come from very sophisticated English medium convent schools. And
Right.
from day one, we start off with the curriculum. And in the process, what happens is some of these bright students from villages and colloquial languages, they are lost actually in that big mela. And in the process, many of their performances come down. And we found that some of them even go to commit suicides. So there was a very, very strong program, which is a 3-week student induction program we have started, wherein students are actually dealt with in terms of actual physical games, exercise, yoga on one side, and then a lot of discussion and deliberation on very topics, varied topics, where there are maybe controversies also. So people will open up and start discussing those issues, and initially maybe in their own language, doesn't matter. And gradually, after 1 week, we say, now you try in English, doesn't matter.
Superb.
And in this 1 week, what we make them realize is that there are students from, rich background, the cities and English medium. They have some capabilities, whereas on the other side, students coming from rural area have some other capabilities. And then they learn collaboration. Actually, what we call as teamwork and collaboration starts happening after 2nd week, that we can learn something from rural student, and this fellow will know that I can learn something from him. I think, but how to deal with this in a classroom setting with 20 students against one faculty members who will be associated with them for all the 3 weeks. And these faculty will become natural advisors, guide, philosopher, friend for those set of students.
Wonderful.
And in the lifetime of 4 years in the institute, these faculty and students have such a strong bondage. And that what we say earlier in Gurukula system, there used to be a very strong bondage between Shishya and Guru, and
Wow.
that is what we are indirectly developing through this mechanism. But how to handle this when such controversial topics are discussed? What will happen when there are different groups? How do you contain them? And this is also a very great training which is required for our faculty members. So we used to have these workshops and train them for 5 days, 7 days, etc. But we found that this is now getting close. What do we do? We want this to happen in all the colleges.
Right.
So we thought of this engagement through Zoom. And
Okay.
then we have graduated to many other platforms, depending on which class of people are more friendly with which technology.
Right.
It may be Microsoft Teams, or it may be WebEx platform, or it may be any platform. So we started engagement. And to our surprise, many people said that this can only be done in a face-to-face mode and not in such mode, because these are very personalized kind of training programs. But we tried that as an experiment first on the AICTE officers themselves, and they all engaged in this particular training, and they were all on board. Then we said, why can't we do it for vice chancellors? So we extended
Wow.
to vice chancellors. There were 14 vice chancellors, and many deans came for this program. And now number was not restrictive, like 50 or so. First we started with 50, and now we have reached 200, some programs even 400, 500. And taking this forward for teachers training in this particular program, we also took other initiatives. For example, training in our Atal Academy. Atal Academy is actually AICTE's Training and Learning Academy. The abbreviation happens to be Atal. It is AICTE's Training and Learning Academy, like your abbreviation of HATKE. We have Atal. Through this, we are training faculty in all upcoming very high-end areas like AI, IoT, machine learning, 3D printing, robotics. We have cloud computing. We have also blockchain, augmented reality, virtual reality. We were doing such programs for again 5 days programs, and these we had planned 200, and last year out of 200 we had completed 185. 15 more were almost to be started, and because of COVID-19 lockdown, we had to stop them. So we said we will continue in this mode, and those are also very successful. Some of them having in announcement of 1 hour, we got 1,400 registrations, 2,000 registrations, and we had to stop the registration and then select about 400, 500 people and continued those programs. So our efficiency in terms of reaching out to faculty members has enhanced phenomenally in this lockdown period. So people think that it's difficult, but we have proved it that it is possible. Then we also have examination reforms. So let me reiterate what is this all about. Our question papers, right from KG up to PG, they're all standard routine memory-based questions.
Right.
So you ask a kindergarten student also, they will always say A for apple, B for ball, and so on. So if an innovative guy says A for attitude, they oh no, something like that our teachers say. So from moving from that rote learning, how according to Bloom's taxonomy, we can involve students in actually learning many things, not just memory, but understanding of the subject, its deep rootedness about why something is there, the philosophy behind that. Two, going ahead to application, critical thinking, also in terms of not just application in your area, but some other parallel area or remote area.
Wow.
How do you take your knowledge to that other field? That is basically nothing but wisdom. So wisdom comes after knowledge is actually translated into practice. So that part of the question. Then some kind of innovation and also creativity. How question papers can be designed to take care of all these issues and really get a holistic picture of a student rather than memory-based picture of the student. So this exam reform we have introduced for 2 years. We used to have these workshops as well. So these workshops also we started on this mode actually. So I think we have really leveraged technology in all its possibilities. And now very interesting thing which we are going to do is AICTE used to have when a new institution comes up for application for approval, we had scrutiny of documents. Then we used to actually conduct inspection of the facility.
Visiting physically
the institution, and there used to be charges, counter charges, that there are some corrupt systems happening, someone is demanding something, which we have been able to overcome and avoid to a large extent, but still there may be some remote corner, because we depend on about 3,000 odd faculty who go to these inspections. We can't guarantee on the character and honesty, integrity of all these people. So this was a problem which we were anyway facing. So this year we are going to have an experiment where we will use Microsoft Team, that platform, for institution also to join the expert visit team. Expert visit team will be 3 experts sitting in their offices or homes in their respective places and ask question to the institute representatives. Show me the workshop, show me this, and all through GPS, so that the location of the institution is also mapped. And then ultimately, without visiting the institution, remotely we will evaluate the preparedness of the institution, and then we will give approvals. I think there is a phenomenal change that we are happening, and people would appreciate that. Leveraging technology for the good of everyone. Actually, that's the motto with which we have started.
Well, I think, it takes me back to the time, again, I have become a little bit touched and emotional. When I exited from corporate, you remember, sir, I came back and firstly said, I want to give back one thing, one problem statement. And we thought about Amrut Manthan as a parallel stream for COAP, where we will have soft courses that will be run in parallel to the hard courses. I'm seeing that dream. So you made it through. So I'm really getting a goosebump on my body that you took it further, and now it is all across the nation that you are able to run it. So hats off to you. Wonderful. Now, in this context, where do you see the whole education going now? We might have learned some different things in this so-called constraint situation. Something innovative, something different that works. Now, whenever there is a normalcy back to earlier stage, we might not go back to, now we have optimized processes, right? Better processes. So where do you see this improvement going further and helping us multiple ways?
Yeah, a couple of things. When we are out of this lockdown and start the actual colleges, I think 2-3 things will happen. Number one, some of the things, the way they were being handled earlier, will continue, because ultimately, all said and done, education is not just about providing some information and knowledge, but it's also human to human interaction, living in the society, and many traits which we learn indirectly. I think in COAP, there are several clubs, 32 odd clubs.
Yes.
Earlier, some clubs were there. I added many more with the interest of the students. Whenever they came forward with a club, we said, okay, go ahead. So for example, COAP now has even history club, philosophy club. People were wondering how in an engineering school you have this philosophy, history coming into place. So I think that is where real learning takes place, outside the classroom. And so the necessity of going to the college and intermixing with each other, reacting with each other, and then whatever we learn from each other is having its own value. Technology will enable us to some extent, but something else is also required. A teacher will, from his own behavior and attitude, teach many things without talking, actually. And that we don't want to miss out. So the universities and colleges will continue to function. But along with that, this leveraging of technology, which we have learned now, which we were avoiding, or we were having some, doubts and skepticism, has been overcome. And because of this, one of the powerful tools which we used to often say is blended learning or flipped classroom. Some people did experiment. They were not very successful. Some of them were successful. Very few were successful. Now, there will be an impetus. A faculty member will tell in the class next day what is he going to cover. And for that, what are the right videos which he should look at, learn that and come to the class. And in the classroom, rather than lecturing, he will ask any difficulties that he has in that topic, try to explain that, and then will create some problems, challenges. Like your Amrut Vahini, you said, there will be Amrut flowing actually, and students will get some interesting topics for discussion as well as problem solving. Then they sit in groups, they will interact, they will try to find multiple solutions. And then how do you optimize those solutions, which is most appropriate? and which can be really be implemented. Sometimes solutions are optimized, but they may not be implementable because of other social constraints and others. So I think a lot of deliberation, discussion will start happening in the classrooms, which was missing earlier.
Super.
Then as far as examination is also concerned, rather than writing 3-hour examination, how students can be given some project-based learning tools, and they can go to the internships and do something and then come back. And then all variety of soft skills, whether it is communication or listening skills or reading skills or writing skills, I think they will also get more prominence, so that a student who graduates is holistically developed and is useful to not only his industry where he is going to do a job, or he can become an entrepreneur, he can become a social organ. That means he may join some NGO and do work. He may join politics also to improve the situation over there, and anything. So I think holistic development of students can start happening in a big way. So this is another change which will happen. And as I said, the other processes which regulators are following, they will also be more streamlined. The learning lessons from this year's experiment, we want to totally avoid visiting the colleges themselves actually, and then do all inspections hereafter using technology.
Remote monitoring, remote maybe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then make people more and more honest. Actually, many times what happens is what we see, regulators bring out certain regulations which on the ground are not realizable. There are problems and challenges. And unless a regulating body understands those nuances and tweaks with the regulations themselves, people will become dishonest. So this is my experience. So 3-4 things I will be able to explain. For example, teacher-student ratio we had fixed as 1:15. Of course, IITs have a very good ratio of 1:10, but when you go to other colleges where fee allowed to be charged by the government itself is very meager, and paying salaries of the same level as that of 6th pay, 7th pay, whatever comes in, meeting the two ends is very difficult. So how do you really make the best use of existing faculty? So if the ratio is changed to 1:20, which we did, but make them more honest. Otherwise, they were giving all fake data about faculty members being present, not being there on the board. So now we are very strict on whoever you are claiming, they must be there. If they are not there, we will be heavily penalizing you. Like in the corporate world, company law, you have to have the self-declaration. You have to follow that. And if you're not there, there is a rigorous punishment. So something similar to that we are adopting in education sector as well.
Super. And where is this outcome? Now there is always a talk about outcome-based education, which is pretty challenging and difficult, maybe easily to say, but difficult to implement. Is that something that we are thinking right now?
No, already we have implemented. See, outcome-based education is part of our academic, in fact, IITs do not have that, for your example. They have their own ways of doing it. They are excellent, no doubt about it.
Right.
But for all other colleges, accreditation by National Board of Accreditation is necessary for enhancing the capacity, increasing new branches, etc. We are now also saying that within 3 years, now we had given 4-year limit, 1 year is already over. So in next 3 years, if they do not get themselves accredited, they cannot continue their programs. They will have to close the institution. Okay. This is also important from another angle, that some of the countries in the Middle East, for example, it started with Kuwait, then UAE and many others, and maybe also some other European countries, they will insist that unless an institution from where a graduate has come is an accredited institution, they will not give a job, they will not extend the visa. There are people who have been working in Kuwait for about 12 to 13,000 people. Out of that, only 1,000 people got extension of visa. Remaining, they had suspended the visa extension. Okay. They had to come back. So they said, unless your college is accredited, we will not allow. Wow. So I think accreditation quality is becoming a benchmark. Okay. And therefore, accreditation is a process which we have made it mandatory. But this whole accreditation, which is based on Washington Accord, on which our NBA is a signatory, India is a signatory to that accord, and there are 30 odd countries who are also the Washington Accord signatories. The graduates from our country with the accredited institution are treated as equals in all those countries. So this is another great benefit. And this accreditation itself is based on outcomes. And we are in the second phase. We have completed 5 years of Washington Accord with India, between all these countries. And now we are for renewal. Renewal is also around the corner. In the meeting in South Africa, we will get a renewal for another 5 years. So they will also observe the processes that we follow in accreditation before giving extension. So we have been very robust. Our system has been very well appreciated by the world body. So I think this is one part. So this being on the outcome-based education, and there are 12 parameters, in fact, right from the knowledge, application of knowledge, some of the things which I narrated in the beginning, they are all part of these outcomes, including engineer and the society, the values, ethics. These are all part of the 12 parameters under which the evaluation is made for accreditation.
And employability would also be a part of it.
Employability means ability to solve problems. Ability to, that itself is a parameter for becoming employable. Employability itself is not a parameter, but all the parameters which define employability are part of this.
Eventually leading to that.
Leading to that, and also becoming entrepreneur. How do you become an entrepreneur also? So I think all of these are embedded in those 12 parameters. So to evaluate that, therefore, this examination reforms, which I said in the beginning, is also important. Because how do you see that whatever is your vision, mission, set of goals and outcomes that you have defined? In fact, there is a lot of flexibility. Not all institutions need to have same set of goals actually. Each one, depending on their location, their what they want to do in their amongst their students, they can have their own set of curricula. And with these curricula, whether you have achieved them are to be tested. And this testing and evaluation requires entire Bloom's taxonomy, which I talked about. So I think they are together matching with each other. And therefore, what you rightly said, outcomes, we are already outcome-based education. Not all institutions have adopted, but they are
in a process.
They are in the process, and they have no choice. As I said, there is a 3-year more limit actually. If they don't do, they have to.
It is coming through the right channel for them to align. I mean, there is no choice. It just takes me back the way that your leadership, under your leadership, COP went from levels to levels to really win accolades. The leadership in you now it's present at the national level. So it is a great pleasure. My question to you was, how do you keep yourself energized, positive, and what keeps you moving every day? I'm seeing so much of energy even as we are talking. So where do you get this energy from?
Shirish ji, ऐसा है कि once you start working and you get results, that feeds more energy to you, and by that energy you do something more, and then further it is a cascading effect actually. So do some good things, it will yield results that will give you energy. That energy you put in for doing something more, and it is like a spiral actually. Spiral of goodness will continue actually. So that is how we deal with in life.
Good. Maybe a last message that you have for the leadership, the entrepreneurs, the people who have now, all of us have come to a kind of common level. Everybody is thinking about tomorrow. How do I have my family surviving? So what's the message that you want to give?
So I think this is a phase which will also pass by. Well, this is a sudden thing which happened, unfortunately, but this has given us a lot of lessons. And learning from these lessons, I'm sure people will start innovating, and many new things will start happening. Probably economy will be down, GDP growth will be down, but there are other benefits which will be accrued. Maybe we should not worry too much about what is the GDP growth rate, because ultimately, if all human beings get some job and they are able to feed themselves and are happy, that is more important than what is the value of GDP growth rate.
Right.
And in fact, we should move towards happiness index rather than this GDP business. So I hope people have learned lessons of being together and learning together and then collaborating with each other. And if we take this forward, and large number of opportunities will emerge because of economy having shaped the way it is now. Probably many big industries may not be able to provide employment as much as they were providing, at least in the next 1 year, 1.5 years, till they fully recover. And therefore, many opportunities for creating startups, for providing solutions to the problems which the humanity is facing, whether it is in terms of the environment, whether it is in terms of energy. There will be a large number of small units which can come up, giving employment to 10, 20, 30 people. and that is how we should move forward and be happy to develop not only our country but the entire globe in the right direction.
Wonderful. Rightly said. I think we are really blessed to have you around, Dr. Sasruddin. It was our honor to really hear from you. Actually, what I can say is that whatever dreams that you have, whatever things that you have taken up as endeavor, all best wishes from our side. You are really a kind of symbol, I can say, of Hatke leadership. So God bless you. All the best. And whatever you can count me personally in, or whatever thing you think is appropriate, please give me a call. So
We'll all work together.
wonderful.
We'll have to work together, actually. That's all. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye.
you.